think it's probably a bit of a cliche, and I'm definitely not the first person to say it, but I think that drag honestly is anything that you want it to be. I think that if for you it's getting up in like full high glam and just feeling like amazing and gorgeous, if it's like challenging people's like preconceived notions about gender, if it's trying to do away with like the gender binary and gendered stereotypes altogether, or if it's just like you lip syncing in a wig and a dress like with your friends, I think that there's such a range of different activities that come under drag that you can't really give one coherent answer.
So for me, drag isn't just about, you know, dressing up as a member of another gender, or, you know, it's an act or a tradition that has had a lot of history and a lot of very like subversive history as like a community or like groups of people who have been marginalised in other areas of society, who have like come together to create drag culture. Usually, you know, trans feminine people, oftentimes like people of colour, black people, who have like created the vibrant culture of drag.
It originally came from like the New York ball scene, I think, where you had people, and the original idea is this kind of subversion of gender through sort of traditionally males wearing female clothing. Although to be honest, what drag queens wear, I've never seen any of my girlfriends wearing that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
it's so sort of wacky and wild and
like playing around with your costume and your identity and creating a character.
totally.
And I think it's limitless.
I think that the question of whether drag is an inherently LGBT phenomenon is a difficult one, because I think that I would never want to. I don't think people should have to justify or like justify their presence somewhere, try to make themselves very valid. But I would say that if you're not LGBT and you're entering drag, then I think that you have to be very careful about if you appreciate the history behind it and the community and all of the people before you, obviously like LGBT people who have created that as an art form. And I think that sometimes you can see a worry where like if you have like cis men doing drag, then that might actually just be more of them for a way to like mock trans women.
It is an inherently LGBT plus thing, and maybe not just inherently LGBT plus, but like to a certain like subculture of LGBT plus, which, you know, the politics of like how like that coalition came to be is also very interesting. Yeah, I think if you want to participate in it, like regardless of your like sexuality or like your gender identity, it is important like the spirit in which you do it, I guess. Like particularly if you're, you know, sexual, like a cisgender heterosexual person, and then like think about like why you want to do it. Like, is it like, will it be like something that is likely to, you know, is it like for entertainment? Like, are you like laughing at like the idea of like a man dressed as a woman, or is it like because you genuinely like you want to express something, or you want to, you know, like. So I guess just like think about why you're doing it and like don't be an asshole. Like.
For the most mainstream sources, that's the word you could use for it, for drag is RuPaul's Drag Race, and the performers are predominantly identifying, presenting as female drag queens. That does tend to mean that a mainstream opinion is that drag is mainly for that kind of purpose, but as Connor said, drag is, you know, all about experimenting with gender and subverting expectations of it. So you know, I love experimenting with makeup and this, you know, making myself like over the top femininity, coming up with different identities in that area, or also experimenting with making myself look more masculine, like traditional masculinity and that kind of thing.
So it definitely can be a good thing in terms of normalising the idea of drag and just getting people aware of it. I think it introduces people to drag who otherwise would have never come across it. But I think it's important for people to realise that the world of drag presented in RuPaul's Drag Race is a very, very narrow portrait of the community as it actually exists. And so I'd urge people not to base their entire conception of drag off RuPaul's Drag Race.
RuPaul's Drag Race is a show that I often enjoy watching, and lots of my friends who identify as LGBT plus also do. But I think the effect that it has really depends on who is watching, and often if it is someone who is, I don't know, has less knowledge of like LGBT history, of culture, I don't think it would always have like a positive effect. It's very much an entertainment show.
I don't even know if you could call him a drag inspiration, but I love how David Bowie always played around with makeup and costume and character creation. That was always something that stuck with me when I was growing up. And female icons have done that too, you know, like Madonna and Lady Gaga.
Honestly, I'd say that if you want to get into drag, then just do it. Like, don't stress about making your look perfect. Like, buy some cheap eyeshadow, borrow a dress, borrow a wig, or whatever kind of clothing you want, and just give it a go. Because the first couple of times you put drag on, you probably will think that you look like a bit of a mess. But it's just doing it over time, practicing, refining your look into something that you enjoy, and then wearing drag out to events. Like, just pick an event and go, because definitely the first time that you start wearing drag out in public, for me, I found it like an amazing experience. I had a great time and it was really, very exhilarating, but it's just kind of taking that first step and just doing it.